And welcome back to the First and Goal podcast. My name is Lewis, and next to me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Laraib, as we are super excited to break down and pick the final week of the NFL 2023-2024 regular season, Laraib. We are finally here, 1 week away. And, this is the part of the year. The past few weeks have been like, oh, let's just get to the playoffs. Just get to the playoffs. I'm done with some of these meaningless games. But you know what? With 1 week left, I remember how long that offseason was. Let's just enjoy a full 16 game schedule for this week. Even the dog, crap teams, players still need to play. Even if it's like, oh, they're not playing, blah, 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 or who cares about this team? Like, guys still need to put film out for coaches all offseason. They're going to be looking at the film. They're going to start, what have you done for me lately? And filter down. So, guys need to put good film out. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but this will strictly be us picking the games for the week, Laraib. So, first off, how you doing? And you ready to break down these games?
Yeah, Lewis, I'm doing great, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, I know a lot of these games might be meaning less for playoff seeding contract, or not for contracts. A lot of these players will be playing for a lot of incentives. A couple catches here and there, a couple rushing yards here and there might put an extra milli in your pocket if you were
Uh-oh.
one of these players playing this weekend. And then, I know we're really looking forward to the playoffs, but some of these games, Lewis, have that playoff atmosphere. Win and get in or lose and you're going home. I mean, there's going to be a lot to look out for in this week 18, Lewis. So without further ado, let's get into the first game that we have highlighted here. The Houston Texans traveling to Indianapolis to play the Colts. And now the winner of this game has a
Saturday night.
guaranteed spot in the playoffs, Lewis, either as the seventh seed or potentially winning the the AFC South, uh, you know, based on that Jacksonville win, Lewis. And so who do you like in this game?
I've gone back and forth on this game. At first, my gut was telling me go Houston. They have the better quarterback. They've been the more exciting team all season long. But then this line came out at 1.5, and it's in Indy. And I'm going with the Colts, Rob. I'm going with Shane Steichen and Gardner Minshew in this game. CJ Stroud, ever since he's been back from his concussion, has been not that great. And the Colts, meanwhile, they just find ways to win games, and they're annoying. And, you hate playing against them because they do really smart things to put themselves in positions to win. And I feel like in a spot like this at home, no way they're going to squander this opportunity for this young team. They get some playoff reps. I know not all of them are very young, but, a good young defense, especially some of the guys in the back end. And then obviously you'd like to get this experience with your young quarterback, but, you know, it's just you got to make the playoffs. And the Colts, they've been solid all season long. So have the Texans. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the Colts are more of a complete team at this point in the season. So I like the Colts in this matchup, Rob.
I'm going to lean the other way. I really like what CJ Stroud has done this season. Now, like you mentioned, CJ Stroud, since going back his first week last week, he really didn't play too well, but he did just enough for that Texans team to win. And same for Will Anderson. He missed a couple of games, but in his only 6 snaps that he played last week, Lewis, he had 2 sacks. And now just another week of practice for him, another week of practice for CJ Stroud back. I think they marched into Indianapolis and put on a great performance. Now, they've been in a completely different team on the road this season, and that's why I'm kind of afraid. But I think this Texans team, with a rookie head coach, with a rookie young quarterback, I think they pull off the victory in Indianapolis.
Speaking of a completely different team on the road, the Colts, in their last 5 home games, have won by a margin of 16.5 points versus on the road where they've been losing by a margin of 11 points. So Jacqueline Hyde performance here, but since they are at home, they're feeling comfy in this huge game environment. I'm going to go with the more experienced quarterback, and that's Gardner Minshew, even though I do like Stroud better. And I'd like to see the Texans in more. Sometimes you got to pick against your heart and go with your brain, and that's me in this spot. I usually don't, but I just have a feeling that's how it's going to end up. So I'm going to go with the Colts in this one. I'm going to go lower scoring. So Colts 23 to Texans 20 in this ball game, Larob.
And I'm going to go with the Texans 24-21 as a last-second Kaimi Fairbairn field goal sends the
Miami.
Houston Texans to the playoffs.
All right, Laraib, let's go ahead and move on to our Sunday games. We only have three highlighted games for the rest of the slate because some of these games, teams aren't really playing for anything except for trying to lose. So let's go to where two teams both playing to win. You have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to face the Saints. Falcons still have some semblance of playoff hope if both the Saints and the Buccaneers lose. Saints favored by 3.5 points at home. Last time the Saints played the Falcons, the Falcons had a really good performance. Saints weren't able to do anything in the red zone, settling for 5 field goals in the game, only scoring 15 points, outgained the Falcons, but the Falcons were able to cash in on a bunch of Derek Carr mistakes, and they found a way to win that game. I'll be honest with you, Rob, this Falcons team is just like sour to me. I'm so done with them. And I know the Saints, I'd rather them lose this game. I'd rather just put my misery away. But I just cannot, in good faith, pick the Falcons. Taylor Heineke is not a good quarterback. He is a backup quarterback for a reason. And, I just, with their whole offensive system, it's way too unreliable for me to pick them. And the Saints have been kind of playing well offensively the past few weeks. Game back at home. This is a huge game for some people's jobs in New Orleans. So being back at home does give me an advantage. So I am picking the Saints in this matchup, Larob.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, Lewis. Like you mentioned, this Falcons team, when they can run the ball really well, they have a really good shot to win this game. But I think in New Orleans, that dome is going to be rocking for what potentially could be the last Saints home game
I
of the
hope so.
year. I think the Saints, like you mentioned, their offense played really well last week, but what the highlight was that defense, just the spectacular plays they made all around. I think they're really getting Taylor Heineke's face in this one. Even if they put in Desmond Ridder, if Taylor Heinicke plays really bad, I still think the Saints have a great shot in this one at home. I like the Saints to dominate.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Saints this one. I'm going Saints 30 to Falcons 20. And a fun game, in the season, everything is nice. And you can go into the offseason singing Kumbaya because the Bucks are going to destroy the Panthers.
That might not happen, but I'm also going to go ahead and pick the Saints. I'm going to say Saints win 27-20 in a huge game from Alvin Kamara.
All right. Well, shoot, that would be unexpected. Next on up, Laura, we have the Chicago Bears traveling to Green Bay. Green Bay favored by 3 points. And you might be saying, well, Lewis, the Bears are already eliminated. Why is this game in your highlighted games? Well, as we talked about in our last episode, Justin Fields has a ton to play for in this game because he's proving himself to not only the coaching staff, but to the front office that he is their next guy. And if he's not their next guy, then he can be the guy for another franchise. So he will be putting his best film on tape for this game. And a game where, hey, Packers fans, close your ears because very similar to last year, Packers have a chance to get in. The team, they're playing is already eliminated, fun young team who got hot at the end of the season and ended up beating them in Green Bay because, you know what, why not? Let's get good vibes going into the offseason. Same situation coming in here. Bears have won 5 out of the last 6 games. Packers, besides, beating up on a really weird Vikings team, have looked pretty awful the past, month. So, Rob, I kind of like the Bears playing spoiler here. Their defense has been playing much better. Matt Eberflus deserves a ton of credit for how they've been playing. This secondary, super underrated. We saw some of those guys like Jaquan Brisker, Tyreek Stevenson get some Pro Bowl nods, as they should have. But, just so many underrated guys. TJ Edwards been having a great season at middle linebacker. And then, you add Montez Sweat. They have playmakers at all 3 levels of this defense who are young, too. So they have a lot to build on. And if Justin Fields puts that tape up there, I know we both said we don't think that's the move, but if he has another dazzling performance in a must-win, prove-it game for himself, then that could change everything for this team. I'm not saying it would change anything for me, but for this game specifically, I like the Bears.
And I have to agree with you, Lewis. I mean,
No.
you look at this Packers team, who have they played in the last 4 weeks? The Vikings with Jaron Hall at quarterback and the Panthers. Then they played the Buccaneers and the Giants, and they lost both of those games. I mean, this is a team that's been highly overvalued in this spot at home. I think the line is just way too big. And like you mentioned with this Bears team, with Justin Fields playing for a lot, Lewis, in this game, and Matt Eberflus still playing for a head coaching job over there in Chicago, I think the Bears play spoiler in this one on the road.
Yeah, I agree, Laraib. I'm going to go Bears 35
30.
to Packers. I don't want to say it. 17.
That's a lot
Dang.
of points to lay out over there,
Dang.
Lewis. I'm
Justin
also
Fields, 4 tutties.
I do think Justin Fields has a great performance rushing the ball, but I think the Packers keep it a little bit closer than that. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears 27-24 as the Bears ruin the Packers' hopes and they miss out on the playoffs 2 years in a row, Lewis. But let's go ahead and move on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Buffalo Bills traveling to Miami to play the Dolphins. Buffalo -3 on the road, Lewis. And this is going to be a nice, beautiful Miami night. The weather is looking at 70 degrees, clear skies over there in Miami for
Ooh,
this
good
one.
football weather.
And it all comes down to this for the AFC East division. And I really like the Bills in this one. They've been red hot to end the season, Lewis. Josh Allen, maybe if he played a little bit better to start the season, he could be the MVP that we could be talking about right now. But as it stands, I think this Bills team is really hot. James Cook has kind of opened up this offense, rushing wise, kind of what they were missing earlier on the season. And now they're playing this Dolphins team with Jalen Waddle questionable and Tua, who start off red hot, really slowed down. I think the Bills are in a great spot to win this game.
As much as I want to disagree with you, I can't, Laraib. I think the Bills are, things that are going to happen later in the day and later that weekend, I think this will be a win or go home type game. Screw the 2 seed, screw all that. This is win or go home for the Bills, where it's not that level of desperation for the Dolphins. Now, is there a part of me that looks at how this Bills team has played all year and says, wouldn't I be more scared of them when it's such big stakes, such high pressure that guys like Josh Allen might just self combust and turn the ball over all over the field? Yeah, there is that fear. Fortunately, he is playing against the Miami Dolphins, like you mentioned. We're just humbled and embarrassed against Baltimore last week in a spot where I actually like them to win that game outright. And if they win that game outright, they could be playing this game for the 1 seed and not have to play a team like the Bills again. But here you are, and a lot of this is on their own. Tua got a little banged up last week. Obviously, you mentioned you lose Bradley Chubb for the season. Huge loss in this game. And this Bills team who's been playing. You mentioned they've been on fire. I don't think so. They've been barely getting away with a lot of these games against pretty bad opponents, but they have been winning games. And ever since they had that awful start to the season, they've been winning games week after week after week just so they could get to this spot where it's a win and get in. They want to be in. And I think they do. I like the Bills here. I think their defense puts on a show against the Dolphins. And Josh Allen does just enough to get a win. I'm going to say Bills 26 to Dolphins 24 and an all-time hood classic.
And I'm going to say the Bills blow them out once again because we saw earlier in the season when the Dolphins were red hot and they had to march into Buffalo and they got shut down. Lewis Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Braxton Berrios and River Craycraft, they were nowhere to be seen. And I think that happens in this game once again. This Bills defense, you can say anything about how bad the offense has been playing, how they've been having to eke out wins. That defense has been playing red hot, even with Von Miller not playing due to personal reasons. I think this Bills team decimates the Dolphins and clearly shows why they should be the number 2 seed. They've been playing like the second best team in the AFC in the second half of the season, and I think they put the whooping on the Dolphins in this one. Give me the Bills 31-17 as they put on a statement on the final game of the 2023-2024 NFL season.
I will say, Laraib, since Mike McDaniel has been the head coach of the Dolphins, their first 5 matchups have been decided by 1 score or less. So this earlier season matchup was the only matchup so far in which it's been a blowout either way. So I don't think this game will be a blowout in this high stakes setting. But, I do agree with you in the end result that I do like the Bills. All right, Laurent, we got a lot of stuff to sort through for the rest of the week. So stay with me now as we begin from the top. Um, like you mentioned, Saturday game, Texans, Colts. We also have another game, Steelers, Ravens. Ravens, because they locked up the 1 seed. Nothing to really play for here. Lamar Jackson will not play in this game. So Pittsburgh's favored by 4 on the road. I think they take care of business. If they don't, that's pretty embarrassing, Larob.
And I don't think they take care of business. I like the Ravens. I think Tyler Huntley goes out there and puts on a masterclass. This is somebody who's been backup for the Ravens for a while now, who kind of had that starter playoff caliber type of performances when Lamar has been out. I think he puts on a show at home in Baltimore and lays this Steelers team to bed. I like the Ravens 24-20.
Mason Rudolph has transformed the Steelers offense, and Steelers are 9-3 in games that Mitch Trubisky has had no part in this season. So take that with everything it's worth because he is that awful of a quarterback. Next game, we're moving on to Sunday. Browns, Bengals. Browns have no reason to play anybody because they're not. Bengals favored by 7. I'll go with the home team. Do it for Joe.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Like you mentioned, Browns not playing anybody in this one. Bengals, a great way to end the season at home
Yeah.
with Jake Browning and Jamar Chase and all those guys out there having fun. Yeah, let's go ahead and take the Bengals.
If I'm the Bengals, I'm not playing guys like Jamar who can potentially have a season-ending injury. I'm saying we got next year, boys. Joe's coming back. Let's just play it safe and enjoy each other's company. Next game up, though, we have the Vikings traveling to Detroit. Detroit's still technically in it from a standings perspective or seating perspective, but judging on the picks we're going to make later, I don't think it's going to matter too much in the end. But it's at home, final home game of the season, regular season for these guys. I think they win it. Give me the Lions.
Yeah, and I have to agree. It's been such a special season for that team. I think they will be playing the starters, just like you mentioned, because of that seeding potential that they have. And I think they go out there and they dominate this really bad Vikings team. I'll go ahead and take the Lions.
All right, we agree there. Let's see if we agree on this next one. We have the Jags traveling to the Titans. Jaguars only favored by 3.5 points against this Titans team, Larob. And this is a really scary spot for the Jaguars because if you remember, Larob, the Indianapolis Colts, quarterbacked by Carson Wentz, on the last game of the year, went and get in. All they had to do was go on the road and beat the crappy Jaguars. And what did they do? Flop. And now you're going on the road to face the Titans and Mike Vrabel and that team that has all this heart and vigor. And you're going to go in there and beat them when you've been awful in your past few games. No Trevor Lawrence last week, and he will play in this game. I get it. You beat the crap out of the Panthers, but I'm just erasing that game. I don't think they'll win here, Laura. I think Mike Vrabel has the ultimate spoiler position here, and they end up beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game.
And I have to agree. I think Will the Thrill Levis upsets this sorry ass Jaguars team at home, hands them a whooping, to be quite frank. This team has been awful. The defense has been sorry. The offense has been sorry. They've been playing terrible football, Lewis. I don't know why this team has any sort of vote of confidence out of anybody in Jacksonville, in a team that could have locked up their division weeks ago, now has to play for their potential playoff lives in this game. I think that the Titans, Derrick Henry, one last gush of breath of air from his final couple games, and he puts this Jaguars team to bed as the Tennessee Titans win at home.
Derrick Henry's final game as a Titan, maybe. Who knows? We shall see. New York Jets traveling to New England to face potentially Bill Belichick's last game as a Patriot. Is he going out with a win, Larob?
I think so. I think the Patriots win, and just to get a worse draft pick, and then Belichick can go ahead and leave. So I like the Patriots at home against his really bad Jets team.
I think Belichick stays, and I think he wins. He gets confidence, hoorah, and then he drafts the 5th worst quarterback, Bo Nix, because he kept tanking this pick over and over and over. Or he ends up trading back for 10 7th-round picks all next season. So we'll see how he decides to do it. But yeah, I think the Patriots do win just because Bill Belichick has to beat the Jets no matter what. Next game up, Laura, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing the Panthers. This game is huge for Tampa as well because this is also a win or go home game for them against the Panthers on the road. Are you kidding me? Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, I have to go with the Buccaneers. I mean, this Panthers team is god awful. They haven't done anything right all year long. Even as bad as the Buccaneers played last week, I think Baker Mayfield is playing for another contract in this
Look, I'm
game.
David Tepper.
I think Baker Mayfield is playing for another contract, and I think they go out there and
Dirty
they
peasant.
and they ball out. Give me the Buccaneers.
Yeah, screw that guy. No one likes David Tepper. All right. Yeah, we both agree on that one. Next on up, two teams that are playing for nothing, maybe looking at future quarterbacks. Broncos, Raiders, and Vegas. Vegas favored by 3. Give me the Stidham. I liked how he looked last week. I think they let him rip it this week because why not? And I like the Stidham, so give me Broncos.
And I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think Aiden O'Connell has had an all right season so far. I don't think Josh Jacobs will be playing in this game, but
Oh,
their backup Xavier White
Zeus.
has been playing really well. So I like the Raiders at home.
All right. Now we have the Eagles. These are games that'll matter a little bit, so hold on to your horses, fellas. The Eagles traveling to the Giants. Philly only favored by 4.5 points on the road. How the mighty have fallen, Laraib. I'll pick the Eagles, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, same here. I think Tommy DeVito or Tyrod Taylor's magic has run out. And the Eagles, if they lose this one, it's
Magic.
just be a real bad taste in their mouth heading into the playoffs. I think they pull off the victory here, but still have to play on the road.
All right, next game up, we have your Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona, only favored by 2.5 points on the road. And this might be a win or go home game as well. Actually, that's pretty much the case, Larab. So are you picking your team?
I got to, right? I mean, come on now. We beat the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and from that point on, it was like playoffs. We have to make it. We have to, then we have to try for the rest of the season. Then we just put up a stinker against the Steelers last week. I think they really need this game for some vote of confidence. It would just look bad if we lose it. If we lose this one and oh yeah, we're going for a higher draft pick or whatnot. I think they win this one against the Cardinals, but it's going to be real tough for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Seahawks in this game. I think they win by 30. Next game we have the Kansas City Chiefs locked into the 3. Going up against the Chargers. Chargers are favored by 3.5, so I'm assuming this means the big dogs for the Chiefs are not playing this week. That would be Kelsey, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes. So give me
Kadarius
the
Tony.
Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs still. Why not?
And
Actually, no,
I'm
I'm picking
going
the
with
Chargers.
my Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers. They're changing my pick.
Easton Stick Masterclass as they march into their stadium at home and beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, and then our not quite final game. Actually, I'm gonna skip around a little bit, Laura. Next, we have the Cowboys traveling to the Commanders. Cowboys favored by 13 points on the road. When are they forgetting that last year Sam Howell destroyed the Cowboys in their same building? What are the Vegas line makers thinking? I have the Cowboys winning by 28.
And I have the Commanders at home. Gonna spoil this Cowboys season. I think Sam Howell throws for 350 yards to Terry McLaurin. And are you done? No, are you done? No, I'm asking you, like, are you finished or no?
What does that
I
mean?
think
I'm never
Sam
finished.
Howell dominates this Cowboys defense. This Cowboys team is gonna walk in there so lackadaisical and think they're gonna be able to pull off the victory. I think Sam Howell, Antonio Gibson, all those guys have something to play for, and they put on a masterclass at home and they beat the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Laura, but then our final game of the year. We had the Los Angeles Rams traveling to the 49ers. 49ers favored by 4. No McCaffrey in this game because of the cap thing. They're being safe with him. They've already clinched the 1 seed. And the Rams are pretty locked into the 6, even though the Packers could overtake them. But they're already locked into the playoff picture. But this game comes down to one man and one man only. And when I saw that he was playing this week, it lit a fire in me that has been dormant for way too long. And that man is Carson Wentz, a man who has been downtrodden, disrespected, humiliated by some, and now he's a chance. And the same offense that rehabilitated Baker Mayfield's career last year, if you remember. And now look at Baker, about to host a playoff game. And now Carson Wentz gets to step up to the plate. And he will dominate the number one scoring defense in football as Carson Wentz reclaims his position as a top half quarterback in the NFL.
And I think you're completely wrong. Even with this 49ers team with nothing to play for, Lewis, they're still favored by 4 points. And that's all because Carson Wentz is the starting quarterback, Lewis. I mean, that is hilarious that your guy who thinks he's going to march into San Fran and beat this team, absolutely diabolical coming from you. I think the 49ers trounced this terrible Rams team with nobody playing. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, no Matt Stafford, no Aaron Donald, no nobody over there, no Kyron Williams. I think they dominate this sorry-ass Rams team and especially dominate Carson Wentz at home.
You will see, mere mortal, Carson Wentz's true power in this league. I just want him back. I just want him back so bad. I'll take him over Derek Carr. All right, well, that's going to do it for all the games this weekend. But before we go, we have locks, upsets, and best bets of the week, Laraib. I'll start with my lock. I have your Seattle Seahawks because I've been locking them almost every week of the NFL season, and they've done all right for me. So I'll pick the Seahawks.
All right. And for my lock of the week, Lewis, I'm going to go ahead and pick your New Orleans Saints. I think this has been a great season with Derek Carr and Dennis Allen at 8-8. I think it's been confirmed that Dennis Allen will be head coach again next season. So, hoorah for that one. Go ahead and lock up the Saints for me.
All right. And then final upset of the year, Laraib. As I just mentioned, I am going with Carson Wentz and all of his glory. One last time to ride with my guy. Hopefully not the last, but one last time. I'm going with Carson.
And for my upset, I'm picking the Tennessee Titans at home, facing a really bad Jaguars team. I think Will the Thrill and Derrick Henry put on an absolute masterclass at home.
You're not making the Commanders your upset?
Well, already picking them was feat by itself. So
All right. All right, that's fine. My best bet of the week, it is final week of the year, which means contract incentives are coming up. And the one I found the most interesting value is DeAndre Hopkins, 7+ receptions, plus 180 on FanDuel. That doesn't seem like that great odds, but you'll take him where you can get him. He needs 7 catches to make $1 million more this season. That's a pretty good incentive if you ask me. So I think he will get it in this game in a big win over the Jaguars, Laraib.
that's a good one, Lewis. For my best bet, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears at +3 going into Lambeau. I think they keep the game very, very close and potentially win that game. So go ahead and give me the Bears +3.
All right, Laraib, well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for all of you who have made it this far. And it's been an awesome regular season doing these picks with you, Laraib. But this time next week, we'll only have 8 games to break down, and those will be 6 games. 6 games?
Mm-hmm.
6 games to break down, and those will be your NFL playoff games. We're going to be super excited going into all of those. But again, thank you for being with us this regular season, especially if you made it this far into the video. Laraib, anything you want to say before we head on out of
Go ahead and drop a like down below and leave a comment who you think is going all the way in this year's playoffs. So besides that, I think this is the First and Goal podcast signing off.
Peace.